heaven, cup of tea, a great stress reliever. And we're going to talk about other stress relievers here today, as we so often do, because my purpose in life is to make your life easier, more efficient, more effective, and less stressful in all sorts of ways. I am, let's have a look, where am I? I am Andrea Kuchin. Oh, bright yellow sunshine today. I wanted to lift our spirits a little bit. So I'm Andrea Kuchin. I am from My Home Biz Tips, which is brought to you by PhD in Follow Up, which is also where I'm from. So if you want to talk to me about anything, then send me an email to andrea@phdinfollowup.com. You want any more information about what I do and how I can help you, go to phdinfollowup.com/Andrea Kuchin. Although having said that, we've got some issues with our website at the moment, so that might actually not quite work, but you never know. It could do. Or you can call me, and I actually do answer the phone, or text me, and I do that too, on 858-252-1190. You might be watching us in the Facebook group. If you're not, grab the link here. Well, it's not a link, it's a instruction. PhD and Follow Up, that's the name of our group. It's about getting more loyal customers and referrals for busy business owners. So busy business owners goes without saying, right? But your whole business is about customers. If you don't have any customers, you don't actually have a business. So customers, referrals, that would be great, wouldn't it? And more business, making more money, reducing your stress level. Now, I know people sometimes look for things and they have problems finding things. And then sometimes people have questions about software and stuff like that. For example, I had that exact issue with a client earlier this week, or maybe last week, I don't know, just putting a bit of light on here. There we go, that's better. So we had an issue with some software, and I was helping her with something that I knew nothing about. And I was just playing a supportive role to try and help her and not get her stressed, because I've got very used over the years to solving problems. And I do that by asking questions. Now, what is the most important question in your business? I'll give you a minute to think about that while I finish my last sip of tea. The most important question in your whole business. Got it? Okay, it is why. Okay? Why is the most important question in your business. In other words, why are you in business? Right? Now, when you dig into that, and that's one of the things I do when I start working with my clients, when you dig into why you are in business, you push down into the emotions and you pull up everything you can that motivates you and gets you up in the morning, right? Looking after family, looking after old people, looking after, older relatives as well as children, paying off debts, building a home, helping other people. These are themes that often come up, right? The freedom lifestyle, that's why you're in business rather than having a job, having more control, all those things. That's why you're in business. They are very emotional responses. Why is a question that elicits emotional responses. It is the perfect question to ask about why you're in business. Once you've answered that question, don't use the word why again, ever, because you can't answer it. Okay, so why did my computer break down? Why is my website not working? First of all, they're the wrong question. And secondly, all it does is send you deep into your emotional self to come up with an answer, because that's what why is designed to do. but that's irrelevant to your website not working, or your computer crashed, or nobody responding to your email, right? That's the wrong question. What you need to do is ask the questions which will give you the solution. So why is nobody answering my email is like, who knows? But if you ask yourself questions like, is my title appealing? Do I have the right keywords? Those are things you can answer. You can actually find the answer to that question, and the next email you send out will be better, right? That's what I'm talking about. So when I was working with my client the other day, I kept saying, if only we could find somebody to talk to, because it wasn't a standard, how do I do this? That's another good question. How? How do I fix this? How do I figure out how to write a better title for my email? Or how do I find out what keywords I should be putting in this? Or how do I find better images? Or how do I change the color of the background? Or how do I connect this thing to that thing? Those are good questions in this context. So I was saying, wouldn't it be great, because this was a specific issue of something that had been working and was now no longer working. And you can't say, why doesn't this work anymore? Right? Because that just sends you down into the depths of gloom trying to figure it out, because you can't figure it out, because there is actually no answer to that question. The question is, how do we solve it? Right? So I was saying, gosh, I wish we could talk to somebody. And we were typing things in to knowledge bases and forums and help chats and all sorts of things, saying, where's the solution for this? And where do we find instructions on how to do that? And after some considerable time, she said, she typed in a completely exasperated way, I want to talk to a real person. And the chat said, of course, here's the phone number. I couldn't believe it. Well, she couldn't believe it either, because we'd been hunting high and low for this flipping phone number on the website for ages. And I thought, crikey, what an obvious question. But because we're so used to the fact that we can find the answer somewhere if we only keep looking, we hadn't thought to ask the most obvious question, which is, how do I talk to a person? Where can I find a person to talk to? What's the telephone number to ring to talk to a person? Okay, so I then thought to myself, I'm going to have to ask more obvious questions now. Part of it's to do with AI. AI is changing dramatically. I don't know how many of you have come across these programs now that say, we can write your blog post for you. Just give us the title and tell us the subject and we'll do it. There are loads of those now. You can find these AI things anywhere. If you want more information on AI, call me or text me, because I've got 3 different programs now that will do stuff automatically for me. It's as frightening as it is awesome, but that's a different subject. Anyway, so because AI is much more responsive than it used to be, you can now ask a question like, where do I find a human being to talk to? Or how can I talk to a human being? You can actually ask questions like that in the chat. So you can change the way that you communicate with software and help desks and asking for help. And you also need to think about the questions you're asking. Again, asking the chat, why is my website not working? Or why is this link not working? Or irrelevant. Actually, it really is irrelevant, because it doesn't matter why it's not working, because that doesn't answer the question, how do I make it work? Right? So it's how do I make it work? What's the solution? What do I need to put in place? Where do I find the information I need? It's that kind of thing. Now, in order to think about what question to ask, you have to actually be looking at what the problem is, right? Which reminded me of a book that my aunt gave to my mother some time ago. And I don't know what it was about. And I can't remember what it was, what the title of it was. It was in a different language anyway. So the title, if I translated it into English, might not be the English title anyway. It was not Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus or whatever it was. That was not it. It wasn't John Gray's book. That was way earlier, John Gray's book. This was much more recent. Anyway, there was a little hand-drawn cartoon, just a line sketch of a man opening the fridge door and saying, "Where's the butter?" But every item in the fridge was labeled butter. And Mum and I laughed because we'd seen that kind of thing happen before. And I know I'm not supposed to say this sort of thing, but it does tend to be a more male problem than a female problem. And I actually have had my husband go to the fridge and say, "Where is the butter?" when there is plenty of butter visible in the fridge. And "Where's the butter?" became kind of like a family joke. If anybody was ever looking for something, you know, "Where are my keys?" They must be with the butter. It became kind of like a joke. But the point is, and I'm actually beginning to lose track of what the point here was, you have to look to be able to see what question to ask, right? So don't just think, "Oh, my question is, where's the butter?" Actually look in the fridge and see if you can see the butter, and make absolutely sure you can't see the butter before you say, "Okay, so where's the butter?" Right? Because a lot of us also are just crazy asking questions without really looking. And I have found that you need to take a moment and breathe and look sometimes before you ask a question. And the more stressed we get, the more questions fly out of our mouths without even thinking. And quite often, I have seen this happen before, and I've done it myself. I know I have. You know this, right? All the things that I tell you about are things I've experienced myself, right? So that's how come I know they're true, right? So that in my haste to ask the next question and my desperation to get the next question out, I don't actually listen to the answer to the first question, right? And in the past, my first question has often been wrong, because it's often been something like, "Why is my..." And the person will say, "Okay, so what exactly is going wrong?" But I'm already off somewhere else, right? Because I wasn't actually listening or looking. So look and listen, and never ask why, because it doesn't matter why. It's in the past, and it will also take you on an emotional journey you don't want to go to. Your purpose here is to lift your stress level up, away, not to be. So the first thing you do is take a deep breath. Then you look. Where is it wrong? What is wrong? What is not happening that should be happening, right? You look. And then, and I know what the first question is, thanks to my wonderful client. Where can I find a human being to speak to? How do I speak to a human being? Please connect me to a real person. That's the first question, right? And if that doesn't work, just think about what you're asking, because what you're asking is the result, right? Not the process. So what you want to know is what to do to solve the problem, right? So what is the problem? Can't find the butter. Or don't know where the butter is. The solution seems to be to look in the fridge, right? But you have to do more than just open the fridge door. You have to actually look, right? So the problem isn't the butter isn't in the fridge. The problem is actually I can't see the butter, right? So you need to look. And some people might think the problem would be opening the fridge door, or the fridge is too full of things, or it's the wrong fridge. You'd be surprised how many people decide that it's the wrong fridge in their process of thinking. And of course, this is an analogy, right? So what is the result you want? You want to make a sandwich, right? So are there other ways of making the sandwich, of getting the butter, that would be easier and quicker? So don't get stuck on a train of thought. Open your mind to different possibilities. And that's what the questions are for. So I suppose the first question would be, what am I trying to achieve? What's the result I need here? What am I looking for? What solution do I need? What's the problem I'm trying to fix? And then what's going wrong? What are the symptoms that I'm experiencing on the way? Because the solution isn't necessarily where you think it is. It could be somewhere else. I hope that's been helpful. I feel as though I've gone roundabout a little bit. So I'll just summarize again what I was trying to say. In my experience, and there's a lot more of this going on now because so many of us are using free versions of things and you don't get support with a free version. So you can't actually pick up a phone and call somebody. And people don't have teams of tech people on speed dial that they can talk to. So we're looking to the internet much more to solve our problems, but we aren't necessarily asking the right questions. Many of us start with why, as in, why is this going wrong? Never ask the question why, because it's connected to motivation and emotion. And you want to keep your emotion out of the discussion. The question why relates to why you are in business, and it's emotional. It's not about solving problems. So when you have a problem, the question to ask yourself is, what solution am I looking for? What is it that I'm trying to achieve, right? A beautifully crafted email, or a fabulous photograph, or a website that's drawing visitors, or whatever it is, marketing that people are responding to, finding the perfect shade of yellow. I don't know, whatever it is. The solution is what you're looking for. Looking is the key word. Look. Don't be so busy coming up with the next question that you don't look. You can take some responsibility yourself for finding things. And then if you get into a mess of internet places to look for questions, remember, you can always ask the question, how do I find a person to talk to? How do I connect with a real person? Where is there a real person to connect to? Okay? Not, why is it impossible to talk to a person? We're not asking why questions. We're asking how, what, where questions. Okay? And take a deep breath. Because the last thing you need is stress. You want to be relaxed. You want to listen. You want to look. You'll be amazed at how much different that is. So you'll be able to tackle any problem because you'll know what solution you're looking for, what questions to ask. You'll be able to find anything because you'll know that you actually have to look and again ask the right questions. And you'll be able to reduce your stress level, because another thing about stress is it's about not being in control. And when you're in control, your stress level goes down. And when you're asking the right questions and you are looking and you are listening, you're in control. Even if you haven't got the answer yet, you're in control. And we love being in control. And I'm not talking about control freaks here. I'm just talking about being in charge, driving the car rather than being the passenger. We, on the whole, as human beings, we like that. We don't like sort of floating around like leaves on an autumn day in the breeze. We like to know where we're going and what we're doing, especially as business owners, right? Okay, so that was it. Now you can tackle any problem, find anything, reduce your stress level, ask the right questions. Go rock it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I really, really appreciate your time. I know you're busy. Obviously, that's why my Facebook group is called PhD and Follow Up, More Loyal Customers and Referrals for Busy Business Owners. Okay, I am Andrea Kuchin. You can email me at andrea@phdandfollowup.com. You can call or text me at 858-252-1190. Really do that. I'm here to help. That's my mission in life, is here to help people resolve their problems and boom, their businesses, right? And I'm the first person here to push you and encourage you and support you and cheer you on. Okay, that's it for today. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Same time. I hope this was helpful. Thank you very, very much. Cheerio, my friends. Bye.